So I'm sitting here thinking about how we, are really big on who we are. Who are we? African, Semitic, Jew, you know, indigenous, um, carbon, non-ether beings. I mean, who are we? Well, that last one is kind of getting into the part I was trying to say, which is what are we? We always talk about who are we, but what are we? What are we? Um, it could be intertwined, intertangled, both things, but what we are is paramount these days in the sense of knowing. In the sense of knowing, when we're trying to move to a realm of knowing, not just believing. Believing is fine. Believing is where the magic happens. You can believe, and anything can happen. Just because you believe it. But when you know, that's when you get in the realm of crossing all all of the dimensions. Because when you're in the knowing, you're manifesting on all realities and all dimensions, and you're able to travel and communicate and leave messages and decode messages because you are at a point of critical thinking because you know. So that a lot of people believe, and again, that's where the magic is at. There's magic in belief. Things can just happen out of thin air, and belief is very strong. But I feel like belief is somewhat of a prison thinking. Is limited to this realm, to the 3D, I guess, realm. It's very much tied to mythology, theory, religion, just all things that are believable but not necessarily provable and knowable. They don't make logical sense a lot of times, the mythos or which is fine. It doesn't have to make sense if there's a knowing behind it and you know why to others it doesn't make sense, but you yourself can make sense of it. So the knowing, that's what I wanted to speak on, is just knowing and not being stuck in a place where we're just using belief to create magic and create this world, because that's where we're at now. It's a bunch of chaos magic, a bunch of spells, a bunch of misinformation. you know um, Headlines lead people down rabbit holes of pure fuckery, pure lies. And headlines are controlled by money and big pharma, and headlines are controlled by those top people. You know who they are. Kanye's been calling them out, whether it's Hollywood, media. I mean, so there's the truth, and the knowing often is banned, censored, called conspiracy theorists and all of that too. So keep that in mind while you're scourging and digging and looking through your truth. I mean, keep that in the front of your mind with the first thing that you Google and read. Then more than likely it's propaganda. It's been placed there to distract you from a real truth that has been banned, shadow banned, taken down, called conspiracy theorists, labeled as anti-Semitic. So the truth is out there, but you definitely have to dig under the right rock and almost stay under that rock, because the truth is in the knowing, and there's no two ways about it. I mean, the truth is in the knowing, and that's where we're trying to get to. Well, that's where I have arrived at. Not saying that I know everything, but I've arrived at a place where I understand that what I believe must be challenged by things that I have been able to critically think through and things that I know. And it is toppled often many of my beliefs and things that I thought I knew to be true back to what we are. What are we? Not just who we are. Our tribe, all of that. That's who we are. Our history, our ancestors. Who are we? But what are we? So, that's where I got to start throwing the bombs of the great biology teachers. KT the Arch degree. KT the Arch degree. Mama Pill, Annette Thomas. Blue Pill, Red Pill, the whole family. Shout out to the Royal Chapter down there. I mean, I'm up in DMV, but Royal Chamber. My bad, y'all. One love. My bad, Royal Chamber. But things are popping in the community, and I'm proud of what ATL has been able to do. Stone Mountain. I'm proud standing with y'all every time y'all march. I'm there in spirit. Every time y'all climb that mountain, I'm there in spirit with y'all. And any other, journey seekers in this realm that did not happen to see. Oh, Devon, what's his name? The breath, the airbender, alchemy. I'm sorry, I'm getting his name wrong, but if you know, the scalar technology. That brother is enlightened with some beautiful healing techniques and knowledge just off of breathing and, the power of the breath. And, I'm learning. I'm a student. I'm a student of these knowledges. I'm a student of these truths. And shout out to my wife, One Love, Eve Delights. Yvonne Jones Myers. She's the inspiration behind, what we're doing right now. DMV crystal, organs, rings. Yeah, back to shout out, because all of these great teachers and energies that have been placed around me that has helped me grow and helped me learn, and accept, understand more of who I am. It's been an amazing, beautiful journey. Of course, all the hip hop, hip hop was definitely revolutionary. You know, KRS-One, any of the thinkers, any of the lyricists, every one of them. I'm not going to name them all, every single lyricist. If you know, I mean, period. So, I've always gravitated to the great music, but the lyrics had to be good for me to something I could vibe to. So, we believed in ourselves, and look at the magic that happened. But also, we know we need to get to the point where we can know what we know so we can protect ourselves when we rise, when our chakras align, and when we rise as a strong people. Even beyond whether it's hip hop and it's a melanated thing, or whatever who you are. Back to that conversation, who and knowing who you are, because there's biology in that. And of course, I got to go with the basic Sabi teaching, the polar bear, the grizzly bear, or the Dr. Inky teaching, the haplotype, which is it's like a rainbow. I mean, the earth, the sun doesn't shine the same there. It's always moving. There is an equator. So in that demarcation from the frozen, the colder areas to the warmer areas, there's all different species of being and life that has developed. I mean, it's simple, y'all. So, when you make zoos and you take a bird from a tropical place and you put it in a New York zoo, I mean, what do? They try to create the habitat for that, whatever that tropical, or you have a polar bear in the zoo, which is wrong. That's why it doesn't work, because you can't like create a matrix for an animal and expect it to do well and survive in captivity. And that's all we're really saying, is that we are captive to our environment. We have been captivated by our environment. And that's why the environment is even more important than the food these days, because we don't even know who we are. We don't even know what haplotype, what region our lineage comes from. And it's not that complicated. So, like, when people are like, you're like, oh, how can I find, I don't want to do the DNA or whatever hangups you feel about understanding your haplotype. Let me explain to y'all how simple the universe has kind of made it. It's either the universe made it really simple, or prior to this age where we've been controlled, there were billions of years where things were in order and synchronicity, and the planet was evolving, but it also had synchronicity, and it had its levels and places. And for the most part, I think people stayed in their lane because that's where their safety was. That's where their heaven. That's where their eternity was. That's where they could stay for a billion years. If you're, a cold haplotype animal creature, or if you're close to the equator and you're a warmer tropical type of creature, and I'm talking everything from insects to humans to dinosaurs to everything that has evolved according to the climate and the state of the the state of the terrain, the state of the earth, the oxygen levels, where, and all of that makes up who are you, who you are, what you are, you know. So, again, it is intertwined, the who, the what, but, what we are is very important, in this day. And sometimes you have to check the climate, you know, you are here to decode and figure out what we are in this day and time, because there's so many hybrids. There are hybrid beings, hybrid animals. There are many animals and beings in distress that are out of their natural environment. Their haplotype is of a tropical nature and they're living in a colder, or opposite, their haplotype is of a colder nature and they're living in the warm or in Africa. So that, things have to get back into synchronicity. I mean, now I will say this, for the explorer in man, the traveler in man. I mean, I suppose there will always be a Trekkie, someone who is, let's say, a tropical being or a tropical bird that wants to travel. So of course, if you're out of pocket, if you're out of, and you've traveled and you've somehow been trapped in, or confused otherwise, in a place that's not natural to your habitat, not natural to your haplotype, then yeah, you have to make amends. You have to do what you have to do. You have to find vitamin C. Oh, I'm sorry, vitamin D. You have to find, which, you can get certain lights. I mean, if you have enough money, go down closer to the equator during the colder season. If you're from a upper region and you're aware, travel more. I mean, I'm not able to do that, but I mean, if I could, I would. I would have, houses that are closer to the equator, closer to what my haplotype needs. And I rambled off the subject. My point was, it's not hard to figure out because our skin kind of tells the story and our reactions to our environment tells the story. So, I mean, basically, if you're darker, you know, um, tropical, the lighter you get, the colder. So, I mean, it's not really complicated. And if you're a mix of that, then you just have double studying to do. You have double lineage and haplotype as far as diet and history. And, but a lot of the stuff is written. Of course, a lot of the truths have been hidden, and a lot of, colleges have been burnt. A lot of great knowledge has been destroyed, but it's also written on our hearts. We're also beings of light, and we store data in our being. We store data in our DNA. So Akashic records. You know, there's history in the Akashic records we can tap into. But these are things that are about the knowing. You have to know what we are and who we are. You have to know what your biology is. You know, if you're a tree, you don't see trees, uprooting and trying to walk around and disrupt their natural state of what they have to do. I mean, I don't know if that's a good example. I'm just saying everything has to be in synchronicity. I mean, like, so many things are out of place. So many lies have been purported to be true. So many mandates have been made in fear and through fear mongering. Just in the last 100 years or 20 years, and so much distraction, has been put on who we are and what we are. So, I'm not going to name all the distractions. I mean, so anyway, nature is what we need to understand: our nature, our biology, who we are, what we are. And getting back to nature, finding out what simple natural elements are in our environment that can heal us, balance our hormones, balance our emotions, and give us strength and ability to creatively and critically think through, all of the distractions that are there. So yeah, just wanted to take a minute to calmly speak about truths and things that I believe. I probably won't ever scream again. It's not really my style, but I mean, it's been my nature, it's been my it's it's definitely been anger is what I'm trying to describe, has been, and screaming and yelling has been a big part of understanding, I guess, vibrations. Let's sum it up by saying that, like, because there's a ripple and there's a tide effect, karma. A lot of magic happens when you believe in and you're passionate and you angry and you. So a lot happens in those angry moments. A lot of things can be said, and I've learned slowly over the years to be a lot more calm, just for my own for my own well-being. Pretty much that, most of all, because the world is gonna feel you. You can scream, you can do it silently, you can write poems, you can go to